Well, welcome to our Native Market Success Workshop Series. We have Stefanie Jaeger here with Local Food Marketplace and Katie Koch with the Bad River Tribe. They're going to talk about the utilizing the local food marketplace to sell product. Super excited to bring this to you. It's made possible partly through our partners at the Office of Tribal Relations. So we're excited to be able to offer it in this space with such incredible individuals. So I'll let Katie and Stefanie take it away.
Awesome. Thank you, Laura. Welcome everyone. Thanks for having us. My name is Stefanie Jaeger and I'm the Director of Sales at Local Food Marketplace. And I've got Katie here from Bad River and she's going to introduce herself in more detail shortly. We'll get started here. We do have a Q&A section at the end, so you can feel free to ask questions there or throw questions in the chat. There's a Q&A section in the Zoom webinar, so feel free to throw those there. All right, so just quick agenda. We'll do some introductions. Katie will introduce herself and about the Bad River Food Sovereignty Program, and then I'll introduce myself in a little bit more detail, as well as talk a little bit about who Local Food Marketplace is. And then Katie will talk about the program goals and mission for Bad River, and then I'll do like a very brief, like little mini demo of LFM, just with some screenshots of some key features that our customers use LFM for. And then we've got some next steps and resources, and we'll go from there. All right, I already introduced myself, but yes, I'm Stefanie. I work for Local Food Marketplace here. I live in northern Wisconsin, up on Lake Superior. I'm not too far from where Katie is. I trail run, I go to CrossFit, rock climber. I've been in food systems for over 10 years. I started out by running Bayfield Foods for about 4 years, and that's a producer cooperative that's in the Schwamigan Bay area of northern Wisconsin. So did that for 4 years, and then for the last 7 years, I've been working in Farmer Hub software world. I'd like to give a little bit of an overview of who Local Food Marketplace is for those who may be unfamiliar. And for context, Local Food Marketplace is the software that Bad River and over 300 other hubs and producers use to run their online storefront. So Katie will talk a little bit more about how they intend to use LFM, and I'll just kind of talk a little bit more broadly about it. So let's jump in there. So we work with over 300 food hubs and markets all over the US and Canada, which equates to like 12,000 farmers and producers. We've been around since 2009. Oops, I think I skipped that part. So yeah, we started in 2009 to relocalize our food system and enable small farmers to compete and thrive. And so we've been the leading platform for local food sales since then. And we do work with food hubs, but we also work with individual farmers and producers who I know may be watching this. So we're not just food hub software, we're also like software that can be used for farmers markets and individual farms as well. So our customers use our software in a lot of different ways, usually multiple different ways at one time. So we can, IC wholesale programs, CSA programs, there's a lot of institutional sales, food access programs. We recently launched online SNAP processing as well, so customers can order and pay with a SNAP card online, which is pretty new out there. Farm to school programs and farm to food pantry programs, you name it. I've seen all kinds of iterations of how to use the online storefront. And then just a little brief bit about our staff, as I do think this is important. We have a small team, but we have decades of combined experience in the industry. I mentioned my experience running a producer cooperative. I'm not alone there. All of our staff actually has done similar work. They've ran food hubs, farmers markets, they've been farmers themselves. And then finally, just a little bit about how we operate, because not all software companies are created equally. We've grown our business through strong and lasting customer relationships. So we work very, very closely with our customers, so much so that our development roadmap is actually influenced by what our customers are asking for. Kind of long story short, we work very, very closely with customers to make sure that we're offering tools that benefit them. Okay, I'm going to pass it over to Katie so she can introduce herself and tell us a little bit about the FoodSop program.
Great, bonjour, hello, I'm Katie Koch. I am the Food Sovereignty Coordinator for the Bad River Tribe, which is in northern Wisconsin. I am a tribal member myself, part of the Turtle Clan, and our home is called Mashkazibi. That kind of translates to Medicine River. I've lived in California for 9 years, where I've gained a lot of agricultural experience. I used to be a farmer florist. I had my own business for 5 years, and I used to design these elaborate wedding flowers, which was fun. I have a 9-year-old son. On my free time, I love herbalism. I love making teas, oils, and salves. And yep, I've been doing agriculture in some way, for almost 11 years now. So a little bit of background around our food sovereignty program. It really got started kind of grassroots with a couple of tribal members back in 2015. It was known as the Gittiganing program. That's the garden program, really aimed towards getting our community back into gardening and foraging. Um, from there, a couple of high tunnels were built from the Natural Resource Conservation and our Bad River NRD department, at our food sovereignty site where it is now, in Odana, on the tribe. So with that, we worked with Vista workers, a lot of volunteer work, and then at that time, that building, which is, our food sov headquarters, it used to be a tribal school, an extension of LCO. But part of that, like 10%, was allocated towards food sovereignty work. And each year, we kind of increased the amount of space we were taking up with that building. And the tribe started committing more time to what is my position now, getting more staff, going after more funding, and then working with external partners like those in UW Extension and WITCAC. And so now we have a thriving program and we have really great partners. We have more staff than we have had before, and we have wonderful community engagement. Part of our goals here, with our food sovereignty program is to really connect, teach and share with our community the wholesome, good traditional foods, to build resiliency through food sovereignty. And so we really focus on the youth a lot. They're our next generation, and if we can influence them into getting into foraging, working with their traditional foods in some capacity, gardening, then that's where we see the change happening. So, we have a lot of camps. This photo are the kids holding their rice that they first harvested ever, our manuman, and are really proud of it. So we host a lot of educational events and workshops as well. We do foraging, we have gardens, all that fun stuff. So this is one of our gardens. We now have 3 high tunnels on our food sovereignty site, and this one is all strawberries. We also grow raspberries, garlic, tomatoes, potatoes, beans, cucumbers, a whole host of vegetables, as well as our sacred medicines. We grow our sage, sweetgrass, and tobacco. We also have a large tea garden where we grow spearmint, lemon balm, we have peppermint, and we even have stinging nettle that we use for tea. We also maintain a small orchard that's down by our powwow grounds, and we will be expanding our production at a tribal farm site in 2025. So we're really excited about that. So local food marketplace came to us at a really important time, just as our program is growing and we're starting to produce more and get more foods into the community. This program is really going to help us streamline our distribution and to be able to make food more widely available to our tribal members. Because before we held kind of infrequent markets, we would have a pop-up like farmers market, maybe once a month for a few hours at a time. And it was really just, certain hours infrequently. So a lot of people couldn't make it. And then inventory was done by hand and on paper. And then when I had time, I'd have to go back to my computer and I'd write it up in the Excel sheet. And so, we're constantly, back and forth on paper and trying to translate that to the computer and price checking to make sure we're staying consistent. So now that our program is growing, Local Food Marketplace will really help us with the structure and organization to keep things streamlined. This is how we're going to use Local Food Marketplace. Our site is not live yet. We are still in our onboarding process, but almost finished. So I have been able to work with their customer service team pretty closely, and they are incredibly helpful. We are currently set up as 2 producers. We have our food sovereignty, which I just talked about, and our local food purchasing, which our local food purchasing is we are utilizing grant dollars to be able to purchase local foods from other producers and bring them into our community. So we're going to be, essentially, it's like a CSA, right? We're going to be purchasing from other producers and packing boxes for people, but we're going to be putting all that produce on our site. And because we are utilizing grant dollars, and this is for our tribal members, we're not collecting any tax or any payment. So that was pretty easy with that part of the setup. And how we're going to structure it is that our customers who are our tribal members, they have 1 full day to place their orders. We'll receive what they order through email, and the next day we get to aggregate that and pack their orders, and then the following day they get to pick up their boxes. Yep.
Awesome. Cool. Okay. So I'm going to run us through just a little bit about, just kind of generally speaking, like what LFM looks like and some of the tools that Katie's going to use to run that program. We're just going to take a look at some screenshots from my demo site, since, as Katie mentioned, they're almost ready to go, but they're not quite live. So we're just going to look at some things that I have on my site. So just some key problems that software can solve, specifically LFM software. We can integrate all sales channels. So if you had more than one type of program, if you were also wanting to sell to wholesale groups, in addition to like CSA and direct to consumer, you can set all of that up in one place. So we're able to do customized experiences for different buyer types, which is super flexible and scalable depending on, the needs of the organization. And it's pretty easy to manage a weekly workflow, which we'll take a look at some of that here. Some key features, customized and flexible CSA options are built into the platform. You have full order and customer management. You've unified inventory across all sales channels. I know Katie mentioned, kind of going from doing handwritten inventory to, actually having it in the system and, having it be updated once orders are placed. That's going to be really important. And then there's advanced accounting and reporting features, as well as some integrations. And we'll take a look at those. Okay, so this is my demo storefront, but remember, it's an enterprise system, so we'll brand it for your organization with your logo and colors and fonts on it. And it is an order period based system, so you can designate an open and close time for each delivery day. So for Katie's site, she mentioned that folks are going to be able to order on Tuesday for a Thursday distribution. So that would be highlighted here on her site. So it would be obvious for people once they land on the site. We can also decide what producers, customer types, and even what products are available based on that distribution day or delivery day. So if you had multiple days set up and you had certain producers that were providing for those different days of the week or even different products, you can control that on the back end. And as I mentioned, we can set up multiple sales channels. And to do that, we utilize customer types. So in this case, we're looking at a retail customer type, and we can say what eligible locations they can receive their order at, what price point we want them to see, if there's a minimum order requirement, how we want them to view the storefront, and even what type of payment options that are available to them. And then, of course, we can designate what locations and delivery day a customer can shop in here. Further, we can also create a custom product list for a customer. So if you were my example here, you can see like a wholesale grocery buyer. So if you had just a subset of products that you wanted to assign to a certain customer, so when they log in, that's the subset of products that they see, you can do that with a default product list as well. So there's a lot of different things we can do on the back end that will determine how our customers experience the storefront once we get here. So remember, customers can shop by the delivery day category, like a product category that you've set up. They could even shop by producer if you had multiple producers listed here, and then product attributes. So that could be things like certifications or dietary tags. You can tag products and customers can filter the storefront by that. So that's just a little peek at the storefront. We'll run through some just like order and customer management and like what that weekly workflow looks like. So entering availability is the first step. So you get your products in the system and producers can hop in, or Katie can manage it for them, can hop in and just list how much of certain products that you have. So in this case, we can see sweet corn's listed. We have the selling unit set up. We have the quantity listed. We can also then, once we're ready to list a product, we can just list how many we have. We can update the price on our different selling units and update the availability. That's what's basically going to get that product on the storefront for customers to purchase. From here, as an admin, you can manage customers. So there's a manage customers page that has a lot of filtering options and ways to sort the data on here if you have different customer types. You can also go in and manage customer accounts on their behalf pretty easily. You're able to see their transactions. You can create admin orders or edit orders on their behalf. You can set up a subscription for them. You can, make edits to the orders like credits or substitutions, and you can also record payments. So once orders are placed on the storefront, or whether you've created them on behalf of your customer, they're going to come into your orders page here on LFM, and you have a lot of different ways to get data on this page. We can sort the orders by the week and the day of the week here under period and subperiods. We can see this information by distribution location, by customer type, by order type. And there's also some bulk actions here. So we could email all of our customers that have orders that week. We could filter it by the location and just communicate with customers at a particular location that week if we were running late for distribution, as an example. We can also send invoices and custom messages from here for anybody that has an order this week. Reports. I love reports. So that's why there was an exclamation point, because I'm really excited about reports. So we have over 30 built-in reports in LFM. Some key ones that I know everybody always asks about and needs would be sales reports, especially if you have grants and you need to do grant reporting. You can get sales by product by producer, so you could see like what specific products and how much of that product went out in your community, like for any date range. You can also compare that data with like a previous year's data set if you needed to do comparisons. So there's a lot of different ways to get sales information in great detail out of here. There's also packing lists, which we're going to look at in a second here. Packing lists and packing list labels. I'm going to show you what both of those look like. Well, the labels and the pick lists I'll show you. And then, of course, there's financials in here as well, which obviously important. Everything in here is exportable as a CSV as well. So if you need to get that out into an Excel file, you can manipulate that data further from there. So this is an example of a pick list. So once an order period closes, a pick list will be automatically generated for you. And so you can see what products sold across all sales channels, should you have more than one sales channel set up. So we can see this here as an example. This green cabbage selling unit is ahead. The sold count is 56. The pick count is 56. And how much is going to get paid to that producer. Another example for arugula. This is a nice example of a product where it's going to give you the pick count. So we sold 5-pound bags of arugula. So our pick count or harvest count would be 25 pounds. So it's going to do the math for you there. Another cool feature that I love is a shortages report. So if you're, you've got all your orders for the week, but you realize you're short something, or, something happened and you just don't have a product, you can just get a list of everybody that has that product in their order that week, and you can easily remove that item from their order and issue them an order item credit. So this is a super handy tool that I don't think people even know they need until they are in that situation. So love this one. Once you have all of your orders, everything's harvested, your packing orders, we do have labels, and you can generate these for any orders in the system. It's going to give you the location that the order needs to go to. If it's like a farm share or a box program, it'll have the box name and then the individual products that make up that box. So all of this can get printed in a 4x6 sticky label if you'd like it to put on a box or a bag. Or there's a paper version of this too, where you could do like a packing list and just generate a sheet of paper. That's easier. And then some quick integrations here to know about. I did mention Online Snap, which I didn't put here because it's just so brand new. That's a whole nother webinar. If you have any questions on that, let me know. I can definitely talk to you about the Online Snap integration. But other integrations that we have would be Routific for route planning. If you needed to optimize delivery routes to like home addresses, you could do that. We do have an integration with QuickBooks Online, with MailChimp for email marketing, and then Square with their card reader if you were doing in-person sales. Okay, so I have some next steps here. If you want to learn more, like that was a very brief overview of LFM. Usually a demo is like 60 to 90 minutes. So there's clearly like a ton we didn't talk about just for the sake of time here today. But if you want to learn more, more than happy to do a one-on-one consultation and demo with you. And I can throw this link in the chat, or we can include it in the follow-up email. I think Laura can include some links when we send this recording out to everybody. She's shaking her head yes, so that's what we'll do. And then I also have a a PDF that you can read. It's a farmer's guide to online sales, and we're going to include that in the follow-up as well. It's kind of like a nice beginner's guide to online sales, which I think will accompany this information quite well. And then Katie said it was okay to put her email address here too. If you have any questions about their food sod program, feel free to reach out to her, and she's happy to chat with you. Any additional things you wanted to add, Katie?
I would just also like to highlight the reports function, even though we haven't utilized them yet, that it for a tribally run program and a program that's utilizing grant money, that's going to be really key for us to be able to just through a few clicks get a really great report that we can turn in to our funders.
Yeah, for sure. We have a lot of groups that run on grant funding, especially with LFPA grants. There's a lot of reports that are necessary for reporting on that program as well. So we could do a whole webinar on reports too, honestly. There's so many in there. All right, well, we are at Q&A. Laura, did you have any questions you wanted to throw at us?
Yeah, well, first, I just want to say, great presentation. We love the reports. We love data. I'm a data gal myself. If you have any questions from participants, feel free to drop them in the chat. That'd probably be the best way to ask them. Or if you don't feel like it can be adequately covered in a chat, ask, and we can unmute you from this side. But just kind of some questions that we had come in since we sent out the programming last week was, what do you think is the best thing to pair well with using local food marketplace? Like, what's the thing that the two just go really well together? The combination of them helps people be really successful.
As far as like programs, like website programs, or
yeah, like programming, or like maybe like a specific way that they go about advertising it or something like that.
That's a good question. So yeah, I mean, I guess for some context, like LFM doesn't build websites for our customers. So I think what goes well is having, making sure the organization or farm has their own business website that has a lot of like that static information, static content on their website, and then kind of building out the customer journey there and linking them to the LFM storefronts. I see the best success with that because you can have all of your information on your business website.
Yeah, absolutely. And Katie, building this program out and working with the grant money and on the tribal sovereignty side of things, what do you think's been your biggest asset throughout the process?
That is a good question. I think just being able to have everything in one place and streamline, like once you put inventory in, you can set it so that like if you have dried goods, it just deletes off that and will transfer it to the next week. So I don't have to like continually go in there and update quantities or anything like that. And then again, it just keeps all the prices there, because even though things are free, I want the prices to be reflected so people kind of know the value of the products that they're getting. And then, when we get to the reports too. I know that will be key. So
Mhm.
it's the whole thing is really helping us stay a lot more organized and structured.
Yeah, I think it's so awesome. After I talked to Stephanie about it originally, I got on the website and I was like, I want to like find places where I can buy this in my community. And unfortunately, like the market in Oklahoma is a little bit different, but it's absolutely a wonderful program. It doesn't look like there's any more questions.
Okay.
Um, so unless anyone else has something they'd like to add, I am fresh out. You guys did it so well. I'm fresh out of questions.
Yeah. Yeah, and our email addresses are here, so if anybody wants to reach out, feel free. And then Laura, I'll link those couple of different things that I talked about for resources over as well. Oh, somebody's curious how you incorporate SNAP. Yeah, I would be happy to answer that question. And then if Katie has like examples of what she does there, she can do that too. But as far as like the software side of things, it's kind of a two-part answer right now. You can set up what most of our customers have been doing up until now is setting up SNAP as a payment option on the storefront. And so what that does is allows a customer to create an order and check out, select SNAP as their payment preference, and then the farm or the hub will know that they need to process that card in person. So that would just kind of apply to like if you're already accepting SNAP in person, just set that up as an option. Customer can check out, you can process their card in person and just record that that happened, that they paid with a SNAP card in their customer profile. So that's one way to do it. I did mention an online SNAP integration. So we integrate with Forage, which is the PIN processor for SNAP, online SNAP right now. So if you're a qualified market, you could potentially accept online SNAP. So the customer would, instead of having to pay in person and run the card with the machine, they'd be able to enter their SNAP card online and finish the transaction online. So that's brand new. But we have a lot of folks going through that process right now. There's a lot of rules as far as like if you can incorporate online SNAP, but I'm happy to chat with people one-on-one on that because there's a lot of detail there and a lot of specifics to talk through. But it is possible. Long story short. And I think for Katie, I mean, the products that you have set up are going to be no cost anyway, so there isn't going to be any payment processing, at least for now. But I suppose that could be something in the future.
Right.
Hopefully that helped answer the question.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for your time and for providing such an awesome webinar. I know this is going to be a great resource throughout our Native Market Success series and definitely something that is going to be useful and we're going to be directing people to for a long time. So thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having us.